There is a cloud of illegitimacy around the election of Donald Trump.
Russia interfered with our election, attacked our democracy for the sole purpose of artificially placing someone at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. They were successful.
There is clearly a cloud of illegitimacy hanging over 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue that's growing bigger by the day.
There's a cloud of illegitimacy that continues to hang over 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about Bill Maher, somebody who I've talked about quite a bit on my channel lately, because I have to admit, he's a very fascinating character. He's basically a classical liberal with a severe case of Trump Derangement Syndrome. He's somebody that realizes that the Democrat Party is too woke and Joe Biden is too old, right? Joe Biden is cognitively impaired and he's struggling, and that the Democrats should consider having somebody else be leader of the party because Joe Biden simply can't get it done, at the very least from a mental perspective, okay? However, like I said, he does have a severe case of Trump Derangement Syndrome that makes him disconnected from reality. And this clip right here that I want to show you guys from the Trigonometry podcast is exactly what I'm talking about, as they're going to debate Bill Maher on election denialism of the Democrats, because Democrats are the original election deniers, but people like Bill Maher, who are living in cuckoo for Cocoa Puff world, or an alternative reality at the very least, don't seem to acknowledge this fact that Democrats do in fact deny elections. In fact, he's actually going to claim that Hillary Clinton is not an election denier and use the Russia collusion hoax as proof that Hillary is not an election denier. I'm not making this up. This is exactly what he says in this clip I'm about to show you guys. But before we get into it, we have to have a word from the sponsor of this video, BioTrust. When it comes to stubborn belly fat, we're all looking for a miracle pill. Generally, you have to use multiple different products that target belly fat differently to manage excess fat around the abdominal area. Some products may focus on abdominal exercises or dietary changes, while others may focus on boosting metabolism or controlling cravings. Believe it or not, I found an exceptional alternative that uses naturally sourced and science-backed ingredients from Mother Earth and is more effective at targeting that stubborn belly fat, enhancing metabolism and promoting a toned midsection better than most weight management products that I've seen on the shelves at stores. And that is Belly Trim by BioTrust. Tens of thousands of 5-star reviews back up the notion that this amazing pill is not only a breakthrough in a bottle, but that it also helps remove the need for us to use countless diet pills and fat-burning supplements. The best part I love is that you can get 51% off for the rest of the month or until they sell out, whichever comes first. Plus, you'll receive several additional gifts valued at over $500 with every order for a limited time, including free shipping, a 60-day satisfaction guarantee, free VIP live health and fitness coaching for life, and 2 free new ebooks titled Top 10 Foods That Burn Belly Fat and Top 8 Exercises to Reduce Belly Fat at no additional cost to you. Go to trimwithpatriot.com, that's trimwithpatriot.com, or click the link down in the description below before this once-in-a-lifetime deal sells out.
Yes, am I surprised we survived? And we really haven't yet, because he still hasn't conceded that election.
Well, that's why I'm asking.
Just the idea of a guy who doesn't concede elections, okay? You guys should stop worrying about all these other little, that's it. That's the ball game. If the guy doesn't concede elections.
Did Hillary concede elections?
Yeah, of course Hillary conceded.
She said he's an illegitimate president.
When did she say that?
She said that in 2016. She said he knows he is an illegitimate president.
I believe he knows he's an illegitimate president. He knows that there were a bunch of different reasons why the election turned out the way it did. And I take responsibility for those parts of it that I should. And so I know that he knows that this wasn't on the level. I don't know that we'll ever know everything that happened, but clearly we know a lot and are learning more every day, and history will probably sort it all out. So of course he's obsessed with me, and I believe that it's a guilty conscience in so much as he has a conscience.
After the election.
Yeah. Russia collusion, what was that if not denying the election? They made up a story, which was a hoax.
Well, it wasn't a hoax.
Yeah, it was. It
Well,
wasn't
just
true.
what wasn't true? What part
The
of
Russia collusion, the idea that
it? There was collusion with Russia.
The idea
there
that
was absolute collusion with Russia.
Is that why he won the election, do you think?
Partly. It was a very close election. Yeah, you don't think Russia could sway, 77,000 votes in 3 states? Of course they could. And they did. Partly through social media, partly for their propaganda there and what they were trying to do there, which was very successful, cost about $100,000. And then, Trump's campaign manager was trading campaign data with a GRU.
I think what Trump was saying is completely wrong. I agree. But
there was
collusion. But the Democrats also denied the election in 2016. They did.
Okay, maybe one time Hillary said something like that. You ask her today, this is not an issue for the Democrats. You're making a ridiculously false...
You think?
Comparison, of course. Democrats are not the ones who deny elections. Hillary got up there in her fucking purple suit and said, we lost. Al Gore did it, took one for the fucking team in 2000.
Agreed.
It's just a ridiculous false comparison.
False comparison.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So looking at Trump, and let's look at on a global scale, like we were talking about before. If you look at with Biden when he's come to power, there has been the Russian invasion of Ukraine. There has been the disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan. And you've also as well got, Bill, now this situation flaring up. And some people would say the argument that they put forward is this is all happening because Biden is a weak leader. People have seen that and are using that opportunity to then pursue their own ends.
Well, whenever I hear something like the disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan, it's just like, oh, right-wing talking point. Not that it's not true. It is true, but it's like, really give a shit. Should they have handled it better? Absolutely. I'm not sure America ever handles anything well. We're just a fuck-up country now in a lot of ways. I don't know if any president under any conditions, but this one finally said, let's get the fuck out of here. This is a crazy thing to be here forever. We're here 20 years. We just got to go. It's probably going to be shitty no matter how we do it. Now, if Mitt Romney was president, would it have gone better?
Yeah, so you see now you heard that. What really blows my mind about somebody like Bill Maher, who, again, sometimes sounds like a very smart individual, right? He seems like a critical thinker. He can see through most of the BS from the Democrat Party, right? Like the far left woke agenda. He can see through that. However, when it comes to this conversation about democracy and the Russia collusion hoax, he's falling for the biggest piece of BS from the Democrat Party that there is, which is the idea that the 2016 election was stolen because of collusion between Trump and Russia, which there is no evidence that Russia colluded directly with Trump or Trump colluded directly with Russia to affect the outcome of the 2016 election, right? There's no evidence whatsoever to back up that claim. Now, the second part of the Russia collusion hoax is this idea that Russia interfered with the election and that significantly affected the outcome of the election, right? It's the reason why Hillary lost. And the theory goes like this, right? Russia bought a bunch of Facebook ads and convinced black people not to vote for Hillary, right? And apparently that affected the outcome of the election, okay? Because allegedly Russia was targeting African-American voters on Trump's behalf in order to get Trump elected, right? Basically, running ads to try to dissuade black people from voting for Hillary on Trump's behalf. That's the theory. And apparently these black people, right, according to Democrats, right, this is what they believe about black people. Black people are so stupid that you're going to fall for a Facebook ad, and a Facebook ad is going to sway your vote, right? I mean, guys, has any Facebook ad ever swayed your vote, right? Has anybody ever seen a Facebook ad and said, oh, well, I'm changing my vote, right? Or I'm not going to vote because of a Facebook ad? I don't think that's ever happened before, okay? I think ads in general, political ads, are more about, awareness, okay, and just general reach, okay? But I don't think they're really swaying anybody's vote, to be quite honest with you. But again, in order to believe the Russian interference actually affected the outcome of the 2016 election, you would have to believe that these ads were effective. I just don't, I don't believe that, right? Because if you're talking about a few $100,000 swaying thousands of votes, then if you want to say that, then I can say that big tech hiding the Hunter Biden story or censoring the Hunter Biden story swayed the outcome of the 2020 election, right? I mean, that's actually much more believable, and we have more data and evidence to suggest that big tech's collusion to censor the Hunter Biden story swayed the outcome of the 2020 election more than Russia's interference in the 2016 election swaying that election, right? If Bill Maher really wants to play that game, okay, if he wants to play that game, we can go there. But furthermore, what really blows my mind about Bill Maher is that not only does he cite the Russia collusion hoax as evidence that the 2016 election, it was, somehow stolen. He also uses that to justify Hillary Clinton's blatant election denialism, because Hillary Clinton, in virtue of pushing and creating the Russian collusion hoax, because she is the architect of it, she is the author of it, that is, by definition, election denialism, right? She's denying the legitimacy of the election. She's saying, well, this election was stolen from me. She may have conceded, but did she really concede, considering how the government spent millions, tens of millions of dollars investigating the 2016 election to try to prove that it was stolen from her, right, on her behalf? I'm just saying, to me, it doesn't seem like Hillary actually really ever conceded until this day. If you ask her, was the 2016 election fair and square, she'll say no, right? As recently as 2019, she said it's not, right? That she doesn't believe that it was fair. She believes the election was stolen from her. Furthermore, Bill Maher acts like no Democrats ever denied elections, right? They never deny elections. Every single time there's an election, they say it's 100% free and fair. They concede. They don't push back at all, right? When that's just simply not the case. In fact, Democrats have been denying the election result outcomes ever since George Bush was first elected. In fact, in 2016, these same people who want to pretend like in 2021 or 2020 that objecting to the outcome of the election is some type of crime, that means you should be kicked out of Congress because you're an insurrectionist. These people were doing the exact same thing when Trump got elected. They objected to the outcome of the election in Congress.
In the past, numerous other candidates for president have used many of the same processes to pursue their own election challenges. As recently as 2016, the Clinton campaign brought multiple post-election court cases, demanded recounts, and ridiculously declared the election stolen by Russia. Many Democrats even attempted to persuade the Electoral College delegates to overturn the 2016 results. House Manager Raskin objected to the certification of President Trump's victory 4 years ago, along with many of his colleagues. You'll remember it was Joe Biden who had to gavel them down.
I have an objection because 10 of the 29 electoral votes cast by Florida were cast by electors not lawfully certified.
I object to the votes from the state of Wisconsin, which should not be legally certified.
No debate.
Mr. President, I object to the certificate from the state of Georgia on the grounds that the electoral votes were not...
There's no debate.
And I object to the certificate
from the state of North Carolina.
I object to the 15 votes from the state of North Carolina. I object.
I object to the certificate from the state of Alabama. The electors were not lawfully certified.
Is it signed by a senator?
Not as of yet, Mr. President.
In that case, the objection cannot be entertained. The objection cannot be entertained. Debate is not in order.
Even with the
There is no
87
debate in
voting
order. Is
machines
it
that
signed by a
African
senator?
American
There is no
Rights Act
debate.
and
There is no
confirmed hacking
debate
by
in
the
the
Russian
joint
government.
session. There is
In
no
the
debate.
early
There is
voting
no
from
debate.
16
There is
to
no
1,
debate.
and the mass
Please come to order. The
my
objection
signature on it
cannot be
seeking a senator,
received.
but the Russian
Section 18, Title 3 of the United States Code prohibits debate in the joint session.
I do not wish to debate. I wish to ask, is there one United States senator who will join me in this letter
There
of
is no
objection?
debate. There is no debate. The gentlewoman will suspend.
Yeah, so there you have it. Multiple Democrats attempting to overturn the outcome of the 2016 election, right? This is exactly what they did. Okay, so again, Bill Maher here, clearly, he's either ignorant or he's simply not in touch with reality because of his Trump Derangement Syndrome, which blows my mind because, again, this guy typically, he doesn't just buy into the BS Democrat narratives. It seems like he definitely has some critical thinking skills, except when it comes to this one issue right here of so-called democracy, which, again, is a very common thing among some of the more smarter or aware liberals, progressives, like, for example, Anna Kasparian or whatever, who, you know, again, sometimes they say things that make sense or that are common sense when it comes to pushing back against the far left woke progressives. But then other times they just buy into the biggest BS from the Democrat Party. And the biggest BS talking point from the Democrat Party is the idea that the Democrats actually are more Democratic than Republicans. And they're not, right? They are definitely less Democratic than Republicans, especially when it comes to electing their own nominees and their own elections that they hold among themselves, right? They're objectively less Democratic than Republicans, okay? You cannot hijack the Democrat Party in a way that is purely Democratic. It's not going to happen, right? They're not letting anybody that's not hand-chosen become a primary nominee in their party. It's not happening. But in the Republican Party, it can happen, i.e. Trump, because they actually really do have a democratic process, right? Unlike the Democrats. So again, Bill Maher is just, he's deranged, right? He's deranged on this issue. He's also deranged on this idea that certain situations that, objectively speaking, Joe Biden has like been a disaster at, like, for example, the withdrawal from Afghanistan, that, oh, it wouldn't have been better under anybody else, right? And I don't know why he names Mitt Romney. I'm not sure why he brings up Mitt Romney. But I would say naturally, under Trump, I have no doubt in my mind that the Afghanistan withdrawal would have been handled better. I have no doubt in my mind that we would not have the situation that we have with Ukraine and Russia or what's going on in the Middle East under Trump, right? I have no doubt in my mind because Trump, first and foremost, he was a strong man, right? He was kind of a psychopath when it came to foreign policy in regards to, you know, kind of the madman theory, right? You didn't know what the guy was going to do, right? He could, you know, pop off at any time. I mean, that deterred people from trying Trump, right? But first and foremost, he was a diplomat, right? He always tried to take a diplomatic approach. He tried to make deals because that's what he is as a businessman. He's a deal maker, and he brought that to the White House, right? Politicians don't know how to make deals. All they know how to do is scam, right? Scam and to try to leverage their power to control you. That's all they really know. They don't know how to come together and to compromise and to make deals that are good for both parties. They don't know how to do that, right? Trump actually does know how to do that. And I definitely think that our foreign policy would be much different under Trump than it would be under Joe Biden. I think that's like the strongest argument for having President Trump right now is the foreign policy. And the fact that Bill Maher doesn't see that, he doesn't see how things would be any different under somebody else other than Biden, it just blows my mind. Because this guy, I think in his head, believes that Biden's doing a good job. The only problem with Biden, his biggest issue with Biden, is that Biden's too old and that Democrat Party's too woke. But outside of that, he really ain't got that many issues with Biden, even though objectively speaking, Biden has not only basically led to, or almost have led to, World War III, but domestically, he's just been terrible, right? Whether you look at inflation, the border, whatever, right? I mean, Biden has just been an all-around disaster. But it seems like Bill Maher probably doesn't believe that, right? Which, again, in my opinion, really is fascinating. It's almost like these people are living in two different worlds. Bill Maher is reasonable when it comes to pushing back against the woke stuff, but his Trump derangement syndrome really does blind his ability to see reality for what it is. And it's extremely kind of frustrating, right? Because it's people like him that continue to vote blue no matter who. That's the reason why this country's in the shape that it's in right now, right? This blind hatred of Trump. Vote blue no matter who. Orange man bad, okay? Orange man worse than anything that the Democrats can do, even though we know that's not true. Again, that's the reason why this country's in the shape that is in, okay? Because you have people that vote purely out of emotion, and they, buy into these silly conspiracies from Democrats that have no basis at all. And if anything, Democrats are extremely hypocritical when it comes to this conversation around democracy, because they're the most anti-democratic Democrat party that we've ever seen. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.